How many times does a pediatrician see distraught parents who just say, "My baby wants sleep"? This video is about the controlled crying technique, which will help and will work if you persist with it. Now, under 6 months, a baby may still need a nighttime feed, so there's no point in starting it before 6 months. But beyond 6 months, and for toddlers who have lost a good sleep routine, this is a technique that will work. It worked for my children, and it will work for yours. Firstly, when it's bedtime, put your baby on their back to sleep. By all means, look at our other video on reducing the risk of cot death in the back to sleep campaign, but babies should always be put on their back to sleep, not the front. And put them down to sleep when they're drowsy, well fed, warm, dry, and check that the bedding is safe. And again, look at the video on cot death about how to keep your child safe in bed. Secondly, parents need to be in this together. It's difficult to do, you need to be determined, and it won't work if one parent gives in and the other doesn't. Some people, friends, relatives may feel you're being unkind to letting a baby cry, but it's called controlled crying, and actually it's helping the baby. All babies need to develop ability to fall asleep on their own, to soothe themselves to sleep, and persistently pick them up, and it gives them interrupted sleep, which is of less good quality. So you're actually going to help them. You need to be consistent across all sleep times, so not just putting them to bed, but if they wake up during the night and for daytime naps, the same technique. And do warn the neighbours, because this can be really disruptive for a week, and if the parents are working, you perhaps want to do this when parents are on holidays or annual leave. So what you do is, when you put the baby down to sleep at night, the baby starts crying, you leave the infant for an agreed period of time, and both parents must agree this in advance and then stick to it, use a watch or a clock or a stop clock. So most parents find this quite distressing, leaving their baby crying, so initially it might be as little as 2 or 3 minutes that you leave the baby for. Gradually, as you get more confident and you see it working, you might increase that to 5 minutes, and then 7 minutes, and ultimately sometimes you might leave an infant for 15 minutes maximum. But start with 2 or 3 minutes. You leave the baby to cry, and then you return after that period of time has elapsed. But you do not then pick the baby up unless they're obviously wet, or the nappy smells and needs changing, or they're vomited, or you've got some reason to pick them up. If you pick them up, then you're rewarding the crying, and you're reinforcing their belief that if they cry, their mother or father will come back and attend to them. So you don't pick them up, you don't feed them, but you do reassure them with your presence and your voice that you're there. You may pat them to let them know you're there. And then once the child calms down, maybe still sniffling or snuffling or crying a little bit but not screaming, you walk away and leave them again. You have to be sure that they're safe, but you've checked their cot that everything is safe. You've checked that they're not cold or wet, nothing's happened. You then walk away, and again you don't return until the agreed interval, another 2 or 3 minutes, or you might now be 5 minutes or 7 minutes. And you repeat this procedure until eventually the baby falls asleep. And then of course they may wake during the night, you have to do it again. They may wake a second time during the night, you do it again. During daytime naps they may wake up, you do it again. And you continue this relentlessly for a week. If there's no benefit after a sustained week and you've been following the principles in an agreed, consistent way, then perhaps you want to seek some professional advice. There may be something you're not aware of that's causing your baby to have such a difficult sleep routine. Thank you for listening.